An early lunch being taken due to, well, a not timed rain delay. Well, we had the Indian team taking off with their batting. They looked good with Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara giving India a steady start. But unfortunately, within the 27th run, we had India losing their first wicket. Shubman Gill giving it away at slips. And then before rain came in, we had India pausing their innings at 53 for the loss of 2 wickets. Let's see if the game resumes. But in the meanwhile, this is the lunch show. And for the timing, we have Nishantjeet Arora joining us. Thank you so much for joining. Let's have you share your thoughts on India's performance till now until this rain interruption.
I think India have lost 1 wicket extra. If at the toss, India was told, especially after losing the toss in these conditions in England, that you would be 60 for 1 at lunch, they would have happily taken it, especially after losing the toss and up against James Anderson and Stuart Broad. But I think the way India lost a wicket of Pujara just before the rain came in, that will hurt India a bit. So uh, if I look at this, I think England has a slight edge in the first session. Test match is all about playing set. Test cricket is all about playing sessions. So England has a slight edge, and their bowlers will get freshen up in the lunch break, and they will come with all their force against probably one of the best batsmen of the world cricket right now, Virat Kohli, who's trying to find his form. So it will be a very, very interesting battle. Like one is really looking forward to James Anderson Virat Kohli battle, which would be the highlight of this test match at some stage whenever it happens. And I think that will be a very, very just for half an hour after lunch would be very, very critical for India.
Indeed, this break in momentum already, Team India has perhaps, as you correctly stated, that lost 1 wicket extra that was not really needed, and that too of Cheteshwar Pujara, where he was looking so formidable in his county performances, and he was the big ticket for Team India to have somebody play that big innings and ensure Team India, manage solid partnerships. Unfortunate that he had to go back so early, and that too in such fashion. Nishant ji, you very interestingly stated that once the game resumes, the English bowlers will come in full force against undoubtedly one of the best batters in world cricket. But a very interesting statement that you used two extremist sides to describe Virat Kohli. The one side is one of the best batters. The second side is who is trying to find out form. If you could elaborate on this particular point at this juncture, if we state that, Virat Kohli undoubtedly, look at his records, his average. Time and again, we don't have to discuss how great he is. But at the same time, you mentioned that in present times, he is finding his form. With this break that Team India is getting, what do you think, he would be trying to think about his performance and his approach? And, since every time we see James Anderson coming out to bowl, every time Virat Kohli comes to strike, what will be Virat's approach now?
I think whatever little we saw just before the rain came in, he looked very formidable. He looked sorted. You could not find that early anxiety in him. Like when you are going through a patch like this in your cricketing life, you are bound to be little edgy to start with because you are looking for that confidence. It can come from one very good forward defense, which hits right in the middle of your bat, and you feel, okay, I have got it now. This is working. My legs are going in the right direction. My body is in right shape. I'm doing well here. Or it could be a edge which has fallen between two slips, and you feel, oh, today is my day. In when you are going through a bad form, most of the times an outstanding catch is taken. That's what bad form is. You find different ways to get out. So far he has looked good, and as I said, that Such is the cycle of cricket that you may be the best batsman in the world, but you will have your share of failures. And that is what Virat Kohli is going through right now. And this break, like you mentioned, will do a world of good for him. As we all know, he's not a captain anymore. Last time when he was playing in this country, he was a captain of the side. Now he is not the captain anymore. So that little weight has also gone off his shoulders. I think that will do world of good to Virat. And I personally would like to get him some, I feel for him and I want him to get some runs. That's a great news for Indian cricket. And he's due for it. And I personally feel that it is round the corner.
Let's all hope that indeed it is round the corner. Joyda, let's have you talking us through India's performance until this rain interruption come lunch taken early. Team India, as you know, we before you arrived, we had a discussion with Nishant ji.
Yeah, I've been.
Let's have you talking us through Team India's
Yeah, I've been.
performance. Pujara getting dismissed, a big blow for Team India, you would say?
Yeah, I've been hearing the conversation between you and Ishan for the past few minutes because I've been backstage, but I could hear. And Ishan is absolutely right. One down would have been perfect. But also in the contest here, how the weather affects the team batting makes a huge difference in the UK, and it changes its course many times a day. It's raining, then it's sunny again, but it does leave a mark on the conditions of play, whether it's the moisture in the pitch, whether it's the moisture in the air, whether it's just a little bit of rain falling on the pitch just before the covers come in, how much wet it is, so all that makes a huge difference. On the contrary, for the fielding team, if the ball gets wet and it gets heavy, then it doesn't swing. So it works both ways, just not one way. So it's intriguing to just see how well the contest between bat and ball can pan out, and it can go either way. And this is obviously in England, so you're not looking at 500 totals, which happens in other places when we play. Here we saw even in the series against New Zealand, 260, 270, 300 are very good totals. That's why the test matches are so exciting because there's a proper game in place. It's not that one team is scoring 500 and the other team is 170 and on the fourth day they're trying to save the test match. It's not like that. There's a contest on between bat and ball, and this will remain over 5 days. Now, whoever bats better in these conditions, whoever bowls better in these conditions, whoever handles these conditions better, will obviously do better. Like it is an early lunch because of rain. It could well be half an hour from now. It's scorching sun, and it stays like that for 2 hours, and then the batting conditions are a lot better than it was in the morning. So when you're batting, how it is makes a huge difference, especially when you play in this part of the world.
It does make huge difference when you're paying. It's part of this world. Joyda, we have you continuing your discussion. Now, if this game resumes, when this game resumes, rather, we'll have Hanuma Vihari and Virat Kohli taking positions again to bat for Team India. From here on, how if you were their coach and you were seeing that 2 early wickets have fallen and Team India is a bit struggling initially, so how would you state both these batsmen to first steady themselves and then continue with building up a solid partnership, provided that oppositions include still veterans like Stuart Broad and James Anderson, who's completely on fire even now, and then you have Potts, who's going so well. He's going so well with his performances.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important that Hanuma Vihari bats for long because when you bat at number three, it's a very important position. You look at the greats of world cricket, number three, look at the Dravids, the Ponting, the Callises, they've all done they've taken the brunt out of the attack. That's the reason they say number three is the most important position in the team. Because when the team is 1 for 1, they should be able to handle it. When the team is 90 for 1, they should be able to get the tempo going. When a team is 200 for 1, and you have to come back to that tempo. So, just in the context of the game, Hanuma Vihari is important. Virat Kohli, as Nishant says, there's nothing left to prove on the cricket field. It's just a matter of time before his form is back. And he will do what he does. India bat long, India bat deep, but every session will be important. And the more Hanuma Vihari stays at one end and bats for a day and a half, the easier it will be for the Kohlis, for the Iyers, and the ones coming after that, the Pants, the Jadejas, to play their shots and get going. So for me, the key to this innings is Hanuma Vihari batting for long. And then we have stability in one end and we have flair at the other. Nothing better than that when two people are batting.
Indeed, let's just hope that Hanuma Vihari stays for long and plays very strong and confident innings. Nishanji will come to you, as Joyda just now stated, and you also highlighted a few moments ago that it's Test cricket and it's a game where sessions matter. And speaking of sessions, we have England winning the first session, of course, undoubtedly, because they were absolutely brilliant with their bowling. Shubman Gill had provided a strong start to Team India, but immediately when that early wicket of Gill fell, suddenly Team India were looking a bit shaky. Cheteshwar Pujara was providing a start. He was having a control, but then again, James Anderson, as we all know how good he is, he got Pujara. And now, before Hanuma Vihari and Virat Kohli could actually show and take things under control, we had, unfortunately, the rain interruption. So, if you could just add on to how Joyda just stated Team India's approach from here, because, due to these interruptions, we also have a lot of time. I personally believe that in Test cricket, it's the time that also matters. And these interruptions, a lot of time also gets wasted because accordingly, any batter, has some kind of mindset that they use to come out to bat. So from here on, how would you state India's approach?
I think I would start with your first point. I would slightly, not fully, but slightly disagree with you. This was England's session. I think it was 60-40. After you have won the toss in England, you have James Anderson, Stuart Broad with the new ball. Test cricket is a funny game in a way that the decision you take on the first morning will come back and bite you on the fifth day. So, how will England be looking at it? If right now India was 50 for 3, I would have said this is their session. They have done what they were supposed to do after winning the toss. But right now, if there is one big partnership, India goes anything beyond 370, 380. England will always be thinking they have to bat last on this wicket. I personally feel this will be a test match. You have different kind of test matches. I think this will be a test match where the momentum will shift from one team to another very quickly. We will see that. I have a feeling. Coming back to the James Anderson point, I think the great Anderson, we know why he has been phenomenal. And looking at his 2 wickets, I would say that Pujara's wicket, he could not have done much with that ball. In Test cricket, or in cricket, any form of game, you get those balls on which your name is written on it. You can't do anything about it. He played in the line. He did what he could technically do to counter that. But sometimes the same ball could be like half an inch away from your bat, and there will be behind in the slips by the wicket keeper, and you will say, "Oh, I survived that." And there will be that edge which will be taken. But on the other hand, I think Shubman Gill's wicket, that just shows that talent alone is not enough. I think Shubman Gill is one of the prodigies for India, and he will do very well. But like, this is his first test match against England in England. So this is also the time for him to understand that in these conditions, he will get his runs. He's that kind of player. He will always get his runs. He needs to bring little bit of discipline in his approach. That ball on which he got out could have been easily left. It was a nothing shot. I would agree that if you had gone for a cover drive, or if you had gone for a very, very aggressive shot, and in that process you get out, that's fine. But that was a shot, it was neither aggressive nor defensive. It was a shot in two minds. And I think that's where he lost his wicket. So he needs to work on his discipline a bit. And I'm sure having someone like Dravid in the dressing room will guide him on that front. I don't know whether Joyda agrees with me or not. I'm sure he was listening to us. Yeah.
No,
So
I do.
I
I do for the simple reason that I think Test cricket is all about batting time. And we just saw Madhya Pradesh win the Ranji Trophy. This is all that they did better than every other team. The discipline that you're talking about, Nishant, while batting, while bowling. Karthik, he just bowled one place for MP all year long. Shubham Sharma just batted. Yashdeep just batted. Mantri just batted. Not everybody is as talented as a Patidar, but even the others contributed in batting. And it was the discipline that they won them the trophy. You are absolutely spot on. I agree with you 100%.
and just to sum up my chat, you also talked about the rain interruptions and how it can play onto play batsman's mind. It's very frustrating because you have a set pattern. You know that you will play for 2 hours, and there is, as a batsman, you have like over the years, you have a set pattern that when to go pre-lunch, 5 minutes before lunch, 7 minutes before lunch. You go in that mode where you just survive, try to survive the session. That is the time you get a little extra
Mm.
cautious because you don't want to lose your wicket at that point. Coming back straight after lunch, again 5-10 minutes is like
True.
opening the batting. You again go in that mode where you say, no, these 10 minutes we have to be a little vigilant.
Get your groove
We
back.
have to be a little, yeah, little extra cautious, and then you go
Get back
from
into
there.
the groove that you were.
Yeah, you are wearing those pads. You need the blood circulation again moving into every vein of your legs, your hands, everything. So, uh, but these players are quite used to these kind of rain interruptions, and you are in England. This will happen. This is bound to happen. As an international cricketer, you are used to these kind of things, and
True.
players, players like they have their own ways to deal with it. You will sometimes see how a break is a very funny thing in cricket. Sometimes you need to notice that just before the drinks break or just after the drinks break, there is a wicket. Sometimes that happens. And why that happens is that just that little 40-50 seconds when you got a chance to come out of your focus, you're having your drinks, that is the time when you go back and take your stance again. You need to get everything back very quickly. So I think this will be an interesting battle. I'm really looking forward to James Anderson versus Virat Kohli. I think this will be a great battle to see, and let's hope that that India. It's not a very good start, but at the same time, it's a start on which they can build, and they will have to keep looking for runs. This is England. This is the Duke ball. It will keep swinging all day. So this with this ball, you cannot have that mindset where you say, "Okay, I will survive for a while and then I will attack. Let the ball get old." You will get that good ball even with the old ball. So the idea is not to miss any scoring opportunity, whether it is a single, whether it is a double, whether it's a boundary ball. You have to make sure that you make the best of every scoring opportunity.
Absolutely, make the best out of every opportunity. And before we wrap up this lunch show, if I can have Joyda giving his final thoughts on, as Nishanji just stated, the very great and interesting battle between James Anderson and Virat Kohli. I'll just like to ask Joyda that what kind of tactical move would you say this is from the England side, because it has now become so predictable, that every time we know that wicket falls, Virat Kohli is coming out to bat, we know that, okay, the moment he is on strike, the bowler definitely, undoubtedly will be James Anderson. What kind of a tactical move is it? Is it to, well, let's just put it on a lighter note to please the audience, because the audience loves to see these kinds of aggressive battles, or is it some kind of a very, on a serious note, tactical move by England to ensure that, to control somebody and to quieten somebody like a Virat Kohli, who is somebody of a, absolute strong international repute, who is so talented with his batting skills. Only somebody as talented and as experienced as a James Anderson can control him, can quieten him down. Unfortunately, Joyda has perhaps got disconnected. So if we can have Nishant ji answering this for us.
Uh, I personally feel that that is what cricket is all about. You look for battle within the battles. That's what makes the sport really these matchups. Like you are there to see India versus England, but at the same time you are there to see two best players of this generation up against each other, testing each other's nerves, patience, temperament, technique. Uh, one bringing all his experience, all his tricks, knowing fully well that these are the conditions where he thrives. The other one trying to prove that I can score runs, doesn't matter what wicket it is, what bowler it is, what line he bowls, I can take care of it. So that is
Nishant,
what
and
we
also,
look forward to.
Nishant,
So that is what this battle would be.
Nishant, Nishant, also a lot of Purana Hisab to be taken care of.
Joyda,
Sorry,
if
Joyda,
you could elaborate.
I didn't get.
I said, Purana Hisab to be taken care of.
Yes, like all these positive rivalries are there. Okay,
Absolutely.
you look at Virat Kohli when he went into 2001 2014 tour, he had a disastrous tour.
Yeah,
He
true.
came back, he worked on his game and made sure that he tells England that what you saw in 2014 was not the Virat Kohli you will get every time.
And I
I
saw a
am good
lovely
at scoring
And I saw a
runs
lovely
everywhere in the world.
presentation. Also, Nishant, I saw a lovely presentation by, I think it was Nasir Hussain and Mike Atherton, where on a split screen they were showing you the difference between 2014 and the next time he went. When he was
Yeah,
in abysmal form and when he was in great form, what are the changes he made in his technique? One of the best pieces of cricket analysis and commentary that I've seen, because it was evident why he was having the issues he was against somebody like an Anderson and what he did to sort it out. It was mind blowing to watch.
yeah.
Joyda, if on this point, the question actually I had stated for you, unfortunately, you got disconnected.
Yeah,
Before
I'm on
we
my way to the ground,
end
so
this
it's a
show,
little patchy.
yes,
Yeah, tell me.
lucky you. If we can have you talking us a bit about this Anderson Kohli thing, and especially this very interesting move by England, because it has become very predictable for us as viewers as well. We know that the moment it's Kohli on strike, coming to bat after a wicket has fallen, 100% it will be James Anderson who will be asked to deliver.
But here I feel it's a bit unfair for the batter because the bowler can bowl 20 overs in one batsman, but the batsman has only one chance against that bowler. So sometimes I feel it's a bit unfair. So if Kohli bats all day against James Anderson, then he'll say, okay, he's batting on 60, 70, whatever. But Kohli just needs one ball from Anderson to get him out. So sometimes this sort of a, a battle, it's always in favor of the bowler. Because for the batter, as we can see, he can't make one mistake in the whole day. But James and Anderson can make 30 mistakes on the 31st time he gets red and get the wicket. So it's not an even, level playing field as far as the batter and bowler is concerned. That's for every rivalry. But this is what rivalries are made of. This is what you want. This is what we want to see when we always say that, okay, this one versus this one versus this one, Vaughan versus Sachin, or whoever. This is what it's made of. Because there has to be so much of history and success and everything, that is the reason why success for both. Virat has had success and failure. James Anderson has had success and failure in this contest. So now it's like a boxing match. Round 3 rounds are over. Round 4. Who is going to win this one?
Okay, so Joyda, if we can just request you that once you reach the stadium, if you could just entertain us by posting some good pictures, because unfortunately I'm in India and I'm not getting to enjoy that live action taking place. So just keep posting us and updating us. In the meanwhile, this is all from the lunch show.
You just got into this when you have done the amount of miles Nishant and I have done. You would have seen all of this. So don't worry, it'll all come.
Thank you so much. So this was all from the lunch show. Let's just hope that in 20 overs, India are 53 for 2. India bounce back with the likes of Hanuma Vihari and Virat Kohli taking on for Team India. In the meanwhile, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining. And let's meet again at the tea session. Thank you so much.